Don't bring up bees.
The bees, the bees. All right. So as a quick update, recap from last time, you guys headed out towards the city of Mitros with a stop along the way at the necropolis at Telemach, the burial place of the Dragonlords. Um, on your way in, you encountered the Lich Daemon who guards the tombs. Paid him with the Dragonlord coin that the game master forgot to put onto Deacon's character sheet. Um, and then he allowed you passage to the tombs. But before doing so, he uh, spoke briefly with Helena. Passed her a gem that he said would help guide the way, and that I believe it was the Furies or the Fates would have more information for her
Yes.
regarding the curse that has been placed upon the sirens. Investigating the tombs, you determined that there were some of the tombs were consecrated, thanks to Sophia's ability to perceive hallowed grounds. Knowing the fate of those who robbed consecrated graves, you're like, let's just not touch anything. Some of the tombs did have undead inside. Some of them did not. Um, and you managed to figure out that there seemed to be three primary families that were involved with the Dragonlords. They are the Horoths, the Phobas, and the Arklanders. As you made your way through the various tombs, you found the inscriptions, who they were, who the various Dragonlords were oath sworn to, in terms of a bond between a rider and a dragon. Not all of the Dragonlords here are sworn to dragons, were sworn to dragons. You did notice when you got to one particular grave, that of Estor Arklander. A coldness came over Kara. You'd never seen her sort of that visibly upset. And she let you know that not all of the Dragonlords were heroic. Estor in particular was brutal. He was very much a conqueror as opposed to a protector. The last remnants of Sophia's spell running out, you managed to find the tomb of Xander, the first of the Dragonlords. The individual whose armaments the prophecy has said you are to claim to use against the Titans. The temple, unlike the other temples seem to be smaller, but when you made your way into Xander's, when you opened the door, it led deep into the mountains in a very maze-like fashion. Thanks to Sophia, you did manage to navigate the maze without getting lost, but you have encountered skeletal warriors, very reminiscent of hoplites, who actually fight in formation with pikes and shield walls. You made your way to what you presume to be Xander's resting place, a room with an ornate rug and a sarcophagus. But upon examination, the sarcophagus turned out to be a mimic, and the rug leapt to life and almost smothered Sophia to death.
I'm sad to hear it, but at the same time, there's a part of me that's happy I'm not the only person that's been taken in by a mimic so far.
Yes, you guys have encountered your fair share of them by now.
I was taken in all right.
But you managed to defeat the mimic. You managed to get some life back into Sophia, tear the rug into some tatters, and now you are safe, perhaps.
Ish.
There was discussion about whether or not this room would be a good place to kind of hunker down and see if you can get some rest or recovery in.
Well, it is a well-defensed position, so
You've done a very thorough search of this room, and there's a tattered rug. There's the dead sarcophagus mimic. There is a lever on the back wall of this room, but there is only the one entrance into it. So I guess what would you guys like to do?
We didn't figure out what the lever did yet, did we?
No, we did not.
No.
How about we do that after we rest?
I believe it was decided that due to the casting of many spells, that a nice rest would be in order for folks to get their spells back and whatnot.
Yes.
Very
Great
appreciated.
idea.
Very much so.
We get chewed up a little bit,
Just a
Just a
touch.
but I'm done.
All right. So you guys are gonna kind of hunker down, kind of keep an eye on the doorway there.
Yes.
I suppose I can watch for you for a bit too.
I will sing a nice song.
Alrighty. So I assume that you're setting up watches. Is Arathius just gonna watch the whole shift, or we assume that perhaps he had tried to keep up with Helena or something at the inn and was feeling kind of bloated, so
I could see him trying that at least once. Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly a dangerous endeavor.
Nobody can keep up with me. Not when it comes to food.
Yeah, he'll offer to sit watch the whole night.
okay.
Well, the whole rest.
Are we taking a long or a short?
It's up to you guys.
I think a long might be the best idea.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
long.
I used quite a few spells when we were checking the tunes.
Yeah, and we don't know when we'll get another decent opportunity again.
Mm.
I will not bother wasting my song of rest then.
So yeah, after like an hour or two, Arathius, give me a perception check.
Woefully average.
So you do hear moving in the hallway what sounds like bone and metal on stone.
Ah. Is any idea of direction or nearness? I know it's a labyrinth, so it'll echo a lot, though.
Yeah. You're not sure, but you do know that. Well, here, I'll move your token slightly since I know you have some dark vision.
Yeah.
You know that where you are, it's essentially a dead end. There is a door that you guys haven't gone through yet, and then everything else is kind of to your west. And it sounds like it's coming echoing from down in that direction to some degree.
Okay.
Where exactly in the labyrinth, you're not sure, but it is echoing from that direction.
Yeah, I'll continue just keeping watch from here unless the sound starts getting louder, and then I'll take a peek. Because that gives me at least a partial line of sight to where the door is and the corridor ends.
Well, we do know that there was some undead presence behind the door that's down there in the very end. So that's
Yeah, it's part of why I think I thought I'd keep the door there.
Yeah. But yes, Sophia did detect some undead there. The door remains closed. And you do hear the sound gets closer and closer, and then further and further.
Okay.
Dun.
Damn restless dead.
All of a sudden, it's an undead Sharknado.
Who?
All right. Periodically you do hear definite movement. Again, that same sort of stone and metal on, or bone and metal on stone sound. But nothing seems to find its way to your location.
Okay.
Basically, you guys got super lucky on those
Detect hero rolls.
random encounter rolls. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Well, we gotta have some good rolling at some point.
Oh man, they got so much bad rolling out last night. It was not funny, and it was funny.
We really did.
but yeah, after a bit, everybody starts to kind of come to, feeling rested, refreshed. Everybody can hit their long rest button.
Finally, I was starting to worry that the only things roaming around and active around here were going to be the undead in the tunnels.
Oh, thanks for keeping water at you. That was actually a nice sleep.
Yeah, you didn't miss much. Just some shuffling back and forth in the halls.
Ugh,
Well,
bugs
I
me.
mean, as nice as we were gonna get in an abandoned tomb.
Oh, speaking of Agri, give me a wisdom save.
Oh no. Okay.
Huh.
Boom.
So during the evening, you do remember, like ordinarily, most people don't remember their dreams. You do remember. You do remember seeing what looked like a woman's face, a beautiful woman's face, kind of superimposed over your ordinary dreams. You don't remember what the dreams were. You don't know if you were dreaming of back home with your tribe or running across the plains or your druidic dream. You don't know what the actual dreams are, but you do distinctly remember this beautiful woman's face kind of superimposed over all of your dreams.
Is she recognizable?
Uh,
Probably
yeah.
by some more than others.
Are you trained in religion?
I am.
Yes, that was definitely Lutheria.
Oh, yay.
Lucky you.
Wonderful save.
She
So,
comes to visit. Awesome.
but yes, Lutheria is not only is she the goddess of death, but she's also the goddess of dreams. But
Manipulation.
it didn't seem to interrupt your sleep or anything of that nature.
She's just checking in, buddy.
Excellent. Yeah,
Had
so
a great sleep, but I
I'm
felt watched
sorry.
all
I'm
night.
sorry. It's because I didn't go to sleep. She usually visits me.
so yeah, I'll relay to everybody that my dreams was almost real, but they seemed off as all of the ladies' faces were superimposed with Lutheria's.
Well, that's fun. Hey guys, I wonder how many more Titans we can piss off.
Well, there's only so many.
Well, one of them seems to like us.
No, the Earth one. I thought she was a Titan.
She is.
Yes.
She likes us.
Yeah, that's what our good friend was saying.
Basically, for those for Sophia and Deacon, or Sophia and Agri at the very least, and anybody else who happens to be trained in religion, the easiest way to kind of remember it is the Titans represent natural things, and the five gods represent created things.
Cool.
Ding.
Interesting that they see war as a created thing.
Well,
Well, Pythor is the god of war, not the god of strength or anything like that.
True.
True.
But yes, you guys are awake, refreshed.
I changed out a spell, Chris, for my day.
Okay.
yeah, natural creatures have conflict. They don't have war.
Yeah, war is definitely created.
So, and I look back at the latch or button at the back of the room.
Hmm.
All right, time to pull the lever.
Anybody ready to pull the lever?
I'll go pull the
Yeah.
lever. You mean I get to press the big red button? Of course I want to press the big red button.
Anybody want to check it for traps?
The shiny red
I think
button.
that might be a good idea
Hey,
before we go and do that.
uh,
Anybody able to do that?
whoever would
Yes,
like to
I
check it, it is investigation.
Investigation.
I have. Okay. I have
I have
find
a-
traps as a spell.
You can find the trapeze.
I
I
can.
have a 1 to investigation. I don't know if anybody else has higher. I assume other people probably have higher.
I'm a wisdom monkey, not
Yeah.
intelligent.
My investigation is only a +1.
I have a
But-
+4, but I don't have the find trap spell.
I have the spell.
What is this investigation that you speak of?
Yay!
So
Right.
maybe Sophia should cast a spell to find the trap, and then Arathius
Well,
do the investigation to see how to get rid of the trap.
I'm just reading how this works.
Oh, okay.
It's like the holy relic of Antioch. Thou shalt count to 3.
More that it says the spell merely reveals that a trap is present. You don't learn the location of each trap, but you do learn the general nature of the danger posed by the trap you sense.
I think our investigation might be
I
better.
think that might be a better idea, yeah.
Yeah, well, find traps to at least tell us if we need to investigate.
Yeah.
But it is still a spell slot, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a
Yeah.
second level spell at that.
Ooh, let's just investigate. See if that second level spell.
Okay.
Nice.
So Arathius, you take a look over this this lever, and you can tell it's definitely attached to mechanisms. The lever itself does not appear to be trapped.
Well, there's no trap about the lever itself. I
Yeah.
mean, that could result in a situation like the elevator, where the oil starts spewing after a while.
And with a 22, it looks like whatever it is attached to basically runs back into the walls of the mountain. So there's no telling where it might go, whether it's attached to something in this room, elsewhere in the tomb. No idea, but there's no like poison needle that's going to jab your thumb or gas splatter that's going to explode or anything of that nature.
Well, there's nothing else I can really determine here, so I shall just pull the lever.
Okay. As you do, kind of echoing through the tomb, you hear this very loud scraping of metal on stone.
somewhere out in the void.
Just kind of echoing through the labyrinth.
Interesting.
What did we break?
No, it probably opened a door somewhere.
It's like the Indiana Jones scene with a big ball, right?
Well,
Well, I want to go find out what happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
You press the lever, it launched the pinball.
Well, if it launched a giant ball, I don't want to stay in the pocket any longer.
casting produce flame and very much following Arathius.
Okay. As you make your way out of this false tomb, you quickly catch there, Arathius, that door that Sophia detected the undead behind, still closed.
Well, that's a relief.
Well, good news is the door's closed. That door's closed.
I guess the question is, do we want to breach the door and clean it out?
You do know, like, everything kind of to the west of you, you've already checked it.
Yeah,
Okay.
all about the left hand.
Yeah, that door is the only, according to Sophia, the only way to progress into the maze.
Okay.
So if it didn't open,
Our destiny lies beyond this door and the tunnels beyond it.
woo!
Sophia,
Yes.
was there any indication of how many undead may have been in the room?
Not really.
All right, just the kind of evil was in there, eh?
Essentially, yes. Just bring it up.
Detects the
Yes, it just
presence.
tells me if there's an aberration, a celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead within 30 feet of me. So at the
Gotcha.
time, at least, it was within 30 feet of the door. If there were more elsewhere, I don't really know. And that does get reduced a bit, but depending on where the undead is in relation to me. So if it was above me and there was a foot of stone between me and them, I might not know. If it was
Oh,
only
yeah.
6 inches of stone, I'd be able to tell. But I would still only know that it was within 30 feet. I wouldn't know that it was above, below, beside.
A dropping skelly boy.
Yeah.
Last thing I need today.
All right, we going?
8 meters. That's impossible. That's inside the room.
The skeleton came from inside the house.
Well, I guess we should have somebody have a look at the door then, see if it's trapped or if it's locked.
Or if it's a mimic.
Or if it's a mimic, we need bait.
I will poke the door with with the dagger.
Okay.
Names.
The dagger sinks into the door a fair bit. It's like it's old wood.
But it is behaving like wood. Okay.
Yep.
Maybe it's a really skillful mimic willing to take one to sucker us in.
The mimic goes, it's 1d4. How bad could it be?
But yeah, it does not bleed. It does not ooze. It does not
Lash out.
grow teeth and a tongue.
Excellent.
All right. I'll just try the door then.
Okay. It is not locked.
Oh, hello.
And as the door opens, you see these basically the kind of like, you know, the toe bones connected to the foot bone, connected to the ankle bone. As you see these skeletal warriors pulling themselves together.
Oh, we must have just missed the game of Twister.
Well, if they're taking the time to put themselves together.
Oh my goodness.
So folks can roll some initiative.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yes, because that
Woo!
always goes well.
It's nice to see things have remained consistent. I'm down towards the bottom, but I'm not Deacon, so I'm second last.
Pretty much, yeah. So
Okay.
everything's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, where did you have me when you had me detecting or explaining the detecting magic?
Wherever you would like to
Detecting
be.
undead. Okay.
But yes, Helena is up, and it's just like a bunch of people there.
All right. I'm gonna look at the one closest to me,
Can't see it.
and I'm gonna call it some names.
You actually can't see one.
Yeah, you have to get
Okay.
down here.
It is difficult terrain to move through a fellow party member's space, so it counts as 2 squares.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still within my.
Yep.
And yeah, again, gonna just call it some names. Oy. Cast the spell. There we go. Do the thing? Maybe? There we go.
Poke it with a stick. Do the thing.
Okay. So as the skeleton kind of like forms up and Helena kind of curses at it, its head kind of like cricks, and you can hear the bones like snapping into place
Oh, fun.
as it looks at her.
Hey, ugly, this way.
That one is going to try to short sword Horathius since he's right there. Ooh, 21.
Yeah. What do you think I am? A heavy?
So yeah, as I explained last game, these skeletons, I like to think they all move like in Jason and the Argonauts or Seven Voyages of Sinbad.
Classic.
Like they're like Ray Harryhausen skeletons, because even in the modern day, Harryhausen is amazing. So it's just like all these like herky jerky movements, but it does manage to catch you on the shoulder with its short sword.
Which is enough for not the face spell.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh, what a terrible roll.
They have dexterity?
But they do. But yeah, the flames kind of wash back over it, and it char it, like bits and pieces kind of flake off of it. You can tell that these skeletons are not terribly robust.
And they get bludgeoned real well.
They do get bludgeoned really well. This one is going to step in. You know what? It's going to use its short bow. It's going to try to shoot at the caster. You do have cover, so your armor class is going to be +2. So yeah, one of them kind of like jerkily moves behind and then pulls up this rickety old bow and fires off a shot, but it just goes like way over everybody's head. I want to move. That one at the back, it will shoot at Helena as well.
Why am I everybody's favorite target? Probably because I made fun of them.
This one gets an 18 because it has disadvantage.
Awesome. I'm pretty sure 18 still hits me.
What's your AC?
13.
So that one, that arrow does find purchase, just like sails over everybody's head, shoot, and you do notice that is specifically is the one that you insulted. It seems to have like its, empty sockets glaring at you.
God damn it. Ow, that hurt.
That
Apparently
will
made him angry.
that will bring us to Agri.
So with my currently produced flame, I'm just going to chuck it at the one in front of Arathius.
Okay. 7 is a miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're too worried about catching Arathius with it, so you end up throwing it like a little bit high, and it kind of splashes over the door.
Ooh, pretty.
Kyra, you can hear Kyra singing as she walks up the hallway, giving you guys the benefits of the Song of Heroes.
Yeah, we like that.
That will bring us to Sophia.
Yeah. I can't see them. But who is right at the door?
That is Arathius.
What's he doing that close?
Same thing I do most combat. Get the first hit on my face so I can get them with the spell.
Yeah, don't you remember we discussed
Just
that
figured
last
that
game?
Deacon would be the closest one.
He was looking for traps on the door. It's not his fault. Besides, remember last game we were lamenting the fact that we didn't have Arathius to get hit in the face first.
Right. In
I could
that
see that being a
case,
conversation.
yeah. I can reach him. I can only concentrate on one spell at a time, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Am I able... This is one thing where I don't play D&D, so I don't know these things. How much conversation can you fit into your...
I'm usually pretty
Sure.
lenient with it. Like you're not giving like the Gettysburg Address.
Okay. Deacon Arathius, which one of you plans on going in there?
I am.
Excellent.
I gesture over my shoulder with a thumb.
Nice to see Arathius volunteering someone else. On Deacon, then, she is going to cast Protection from Good and Evil. Just put his hand on his shoulder, give him a quick... I was going to say blessing, but that's an entirely different spell. But give him a quick protection from good and evil.
I'd worry that I'd worry I'd implode in that situation.
Excellent. A spell condom.
Same what I did last time.
Man, oh man. Could you imagine having undead gonorrhea?
Mummy crotch rot.
Ew.
Oh wow.
You guys are so gross.
Undead crabs.
That's nasty.
Are you gonna move at all, Sophia, or?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to make sure I pull out my mace.
Okay.
But doorways are narrow and I'm not. So.
Right?
Yeah. That will bring us to Arathius.
Well, well, well. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, so from your vantage point, you can see that there's like probably a half a dozen of these skeletal warriors. The thing is, they're kind of confined by space the same way you guys are.
Yeah.
So they can't bring everything to bear on your front rank, just as you guys can't bring everything to bear on them.
Well, I'm going to try an Eldritch Blast at disadvantage because I'm in melee with the guy right in front of me.
Okay.
Because I've looked at the spaces and I don't quite have enough movement to get out of here anyway.
Yeah. You could, if you use your action to dash, because that would give you another 30 feet.
Oh, I'm not going to dash.
Okay.
That's there's a fine amount of cowardice that Arathius would display.
Okay.
There's a threshold.
As long as you can flatten yourself against the wall so I can get through, that's all that matters.
Right?
All right. So yeah, even with disadvantage, I take it, is that one right in front of you?
Yeah.
So yeah, you just like fire off this Eldritch Blast almost instinctively, and it just implodes that skeleton.
And as planned, there's space for the hoplite.
So at the back, going to fire its short bow. That is going to be... It's going to be a 21 against Arathius.
Oh god, yeah, that hit me. That hit me last week.
Yeah. So an arrow plings off, like kind of sinks into like the fleshy part of your thigh for 3 points of damage.
Well, there went the last of my temporary hit points. So I'm actually slightly injured now.
Okay. And that will bring us to Deacon.
Hey, Chris, what's the mechanism for like shield bash or a charge in this game?
Charge is a specific feat you can pick up. Which basically, yeah, but you could shield bash. It's just like a melee attack. But it would be bludgeoning damage, so there's that.
Okay. My thought was to kind of just charge in and try to make some more room in this room.
Gotcha. Yeah. You could, yeah, you've got enough movement to get into that space that Arathius just cleared out.
All right.
So yeah, it is like a little bit of a squeeze past Agri and Arathius. Like, excuse me, and then you come in. If you want to shield bash, it would be a melee attack using your strength and your proficiency bonus.
I like to think he was so focused on squeezing past our good friend the centaur that he completely misses the space that I'm in.
Just kind of vaults off of Agri's back and over you.
Yep.
So it would be a D20 plus your strength plus 2 for your proficiency bonus.
Okay, so strength bonus.
Yep, you've got a 18 strength.
Yes, so it's +4 mod.
Yeah,
and then +2 on 6.
Yep, so D20 plus 6.
Okay, that sounds good. Also, can I activate a feature?
Which one?
Phalanx shield wall.
You can. I believe it's bonus action.
Yeah, one bonus action.
Yep.
Okay, so I turn that on. So since we're congested in here, pretty much everyone should probably get that +2 AC. Anyone else who has shields gets a +1.
Yeah, the only person that's out of it currently is Helena.
Yeah, as she closes in closer, it's how long does it last? Oh, for a minute.
Yep,
Okay.
for 1 minute.
All right, well, if you don't have a shield, huddle up with someone who does. And I'm going to attempt to bash the one in front of me.
Okay. Ooh, critical hit.
I may have succeeded.
Perfect. So your shield, it's an improvised weapon, so it'll do a D4 damage plus your strength bonus.
All right, so D4 +4.
Yep. And then Then an extra d4 for the crit. So 9 and then doubled because bludgeoning.
Sweet.
Nice.
Now, can I drive into that area so that someone can come in behind me?
You can. You still have 1 square of movement left.
Perfect.
So yeah, so Deacon kind of vaults off of Agri's back over Arathius and just brings that shield like full force into that skeleton, and it just like drops as he lands in its space, sort of thing.
Nice.
The skeleton's gonna go, oh shit, and try to attack the threat. That's gonna be a 21 with disadvantage.
So what does the protection good versus evil do me?
It means they attack at disadvantage.
Okay. Well, with it turned on, I have a shield, so I get +1 to mine, so I have a 21 as well.
Okay, so it just barely connects.
What? We don't want to tie?
Nope.
Fair enough. I'll take this.
Yeah. So yeah, as you kind of land, you kind of stand up and you feel like this pain in your shoulders. You realize that one of these things has managed to snag you.
Damn you.
And that was with his protection?
Yep.
Well, 2 really good rolls, so even with disadvantage, right?
Yeah.
Ouch.
That will bring us to Helena.
Okay, I guess I'll move up to get the protection. I'm gonna throw Bardic Inspiration at Deacon.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna insult some more skeletons, because I'm good at that.
I don't know if they understand what you're saying.
They don't need to.
Well, that one's clearly defiant.
That one is very defined. It's fallen for your tricks already.
Listen, you ugly motherfucker, just go down.
That is going to... Oh, look at that. A natural 1 and a natural 20. That will
Wow.
definitely miss Deacon. A 15 will definitely miss Deacon. That will bring us to Agri. The skeletons in the room now seem... Even the ones that had bows have basically drawn their short swords, and they seem focused on the threat in their midst.
No,
Right.
really?
Arathius, you moving in?
No, I'm good here.
Okay, so I charge past.
Okay.
I hug the wall.
Oh! Centaur
Oh,
coming
God.
through!
Yeah, that's basically it.
It's like when you're in the movie theater and somebody has to get up to go to the bathroom.
That's perfect imagery. I like it.
Very great analogy.
All right, I'm going to strike the one to the north of me.
Okay. Oh, that is a hit.
Unfortunately, it's slashing, not bludgeoning, though.
Yeah. Right. And Agri has a shield, right?
He does.
Perfect. So just so you guys are aware, with phalanx, those bonuses stack. So you each get +2 because you're beside somebody, and then because you have a shield, you get +1. So each of you currently have +3 to your AC.
Excellent.
Kyra will continue singing. She's like, you guys got this. Heroes of the Heartland. Go team. Sophia.
I don't think I can get close enough to really be able to do anything. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to crowd my way in there.
You could Guiding Bolt.
On the other, yeah, I was going to say, on the other hand, it can make life a little more difficult for the critters that I can see.
The sad part about this is I only get the +1 AC.
So
No, you get +2 because you're beside Agri.
the one there in the, as far as I can tell, in the corner.
Yep.
I'm going to try to cast a guiding bolt on him.
Okay.
We'll see how well that works.
Nice.
Sweet.
Oof.
Poof.
That feels a bit better.
So yeah, so the bolt launches over everybody's head, and just kind of envelopes this skeleton, and just the bonds of unholy magic holding it together just fade into nothingness, and it just falls into pieces. But yeah, Jeff, with the phalanx, it's you and everybody who can hear you, who's within 5 feet of somebody with a shield, gets a +2, and then everybody who has a shield gets an additional +1. It's a really nice ability.
It is a really nice ability.
It does say, though, that it doesn't stack on itself, but I'm assuming that would be multiple uses.
Yeah, so like if somebody else had a phalanx, like if Agri had phalanx as well, you wouldn't be each getting a +6. So yeah, if you're with another fighter that has it, you don't both get it. Did my mic cut out? Yeah, I can't hear you either.
Oh, that's much better.
There, apparently my voice dropped. Discord issue.
Oh no, everyone's Discord dropped because I was like, is it me or is it Chris? And I looked at my ping and it was like over 5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing was like, oh, where did my...
Can anyone hear me right now?
Yep.
Okay, just checking.
Everything is back.
I feel like I'm all alone.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Very much so.
So yeah, just to clarify with phalanx, if if Agri had it, you wouldn't get +2 from him and +2 from yourself.
Yeah, it would be like that way. If you had two hoplites in the same kind of fighting party, they wouldn't be able to kind of help each other.
Exactly. Arathius, you're up.
Oh, well, isn't this pretty?
Feeling somewhat more protected by having Agri in the front of you with the shield and Sophie behind you with the shield.
Yeah. Well, I think I'll just comfortably Eldritch Blast the furthest one along the line there.
Okay. That is not quite. As you kind of like reach behind the door, and there's like, shields and horses and everything else in your way, and it just throws your aim off. That one is going to try to fight Deacon. Not with a 6.
Never with a 6. You need a 23 at present.
Yeah. Jeez, can they hit a 23?
Well, yes.
I'm hoping not.
There's the I've definitely hit no matter what.
Yeah. That will bring us to Deacon.
Well, since that shield bash worked awfully well the last time, it does behoove me to try it again. So the one that's just right there on my right, okay. I'm gonna smack my shield into him and attempt to take his spot.
Okay.
Alrighty, so we've determined that's a D20 plus 6.
Yes. Ooh, another crit. Look at that.
Nice.
It's like it was ordained.
So that'll be a net 2d4 plus 4, and then doubled because bashing damage, bludgeoning damage.
2d4 plus 4?
Yep. Nice.
I definitely like this addition of all the dice there just below the talk box, so you don't have to type anything in.
It's a nice little module called Dice Tray. It even has buttons for
Oh.
advantage and disadvantage.
Yeah, it's great. Just like click the D4 twice, put your plus up to 4, and then roll.
So you're just gonna bring that shield around, and that skeleton just like, I was gonna say bites the dust, but turns to dust.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
So can I take that spot, or will I leave myself open to being slashed at?
If you move, yes, the one just north of Agri will get an attack against you, but your AC is so high, you're probably not overly concerned.
Yep. So we'll push through. That way people can move or through or have a better light.
Okay. Yeah. So it does kind of like reach out with the short sword, but to no effect.
Too slow.
But it is gonna get a piece of Agri for 7.
Poor egg.
Chomp chomp.
Chomp chomp. So yeah, it like basically just brings that sword down across like your hindquarters, draws some blood. That will bring us around to Helena.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think I can throw out another bardic inspiration while I've still got one up, correct?
Yes, you can.
Can I?
Yep.
Okay, I will throw one at Agri.
Okay.
Thanks.
You are welcome. And then I'm gonna insult some more skeletons, because why waste my spells?
Yep, you can see them.
Bingo.
You stupid, ugly. Just die.
So yeah, that skeleton
Okay,
just
some better insults.
the skeleton north of Agri just kind of like cricks its head. It lets out like this rasping moan, you're gonna guess. It's the first time you've heard any of these skeletons actually vocalize anything, and it sounds like a death rattle.
Good. Hopefully it is.
That will bring us to Agri.
Did you skip over Skelly?
That
one might be dead.
Nope, that one's not dead yet. One of the few that is still alive.
Not dead yet.
But 14 is not going to come anywhere near hitting Deacon.
Well, technically they're already dead.
Yeah.
That's why I said it. You're never wrong when you say they're dead.
But yes, that will be Agri's turn then.
Okay, so question. So if I want to move to the adjacent square so I get the shield bonus again from Deacon, is that an attack of opportunity?
It's not. It's only if you're leaving its reach, but you're not. You're just kind of moving sideways a little bit.
All right.
Yeah, come on over here, cuddle up.
Yeah, I'll move over so I get that lovely AC bonus again. And yeah, I'm going to see if I can finish off the one that just got insulted.
Okay. Ooh, that's a solid hit.
Still only slashing, though.
But yeah, you move, and as it kind of lurches towards you, you kind of spin around with that scimitar and just decapitate it and drop it.
Sweet.
Takes to Kyra. Kyra's like, oh, good job, guys. Just let me know if anything interesting happens. I'll add it into my poem. She kind of like looks at Helena when she says that. Like she's vaguely jealous. She's vaguely jealous that Helena has like a better view of what's currently happening. Sophia.
There's a spot right there next to Angry.
There is.
Come join in the fray.
So I'm just wondering if I can push past into there.
Join us.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not
she
going to
will-
get in your way.
And with her mace,
Erathius is
she'll take a swing at it.
Erathius seems to be really good at getting out of the way.
Lots of practice.
Actually, sorry, she'll use Pyther's hammer.
That is a hit.
Excellent.
So yeah, it was interesting. Even though you'd like just barely like glanced across it because of the fact that it's a hammer versus some very brittle bones, the skeleton definitely feels the force of that. I like to think the last turn has been a lot of Arathius up against the wall, and every time he goes to take a step away from the wall, somebody else moves through.
Yeah, and that's the real reason I missed with my Eldritch Blast.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, damn it, mwah!
Oh,
It's like because
crap!
it's
I
like-
actually had the chance to stand somewhere and shoot. Damn it!
Excuse me,
like
sorry, pardon me, excuse me, sorry.
it's like as the clowns keep piling out of the car.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stay back here and avoid the people and the skeletons and the... Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, guys.
Arathius, you are up.
Well, there's one skelly left, and I'm in a good position, so I'll just zap.
'Kay.
Hopefully zap.
Ooh.
Hey, look, I don't have to move.
So yeah, you kind of like lean over, kind of like put your hand like right beside Sophia's shoulder, just fire, and the skeleton rocks back, and then it kind of like lurches back to its feet. But you can see like it's got like a big gaping hole in its torso.
You should get that checked.
That will bring us to Deacon.
All right. At this point in time, I will. The shield bash thing's been working really well, so I think we'll do that.
Okay. Oh my god!
That's like 3
Wow.
crits in a row.
It's because the
I'm getting
shield bash
another
thing's
level
really
in my
working well.
poem. Actually, yeah, I think that does make another level in my poem after this combat.
That poor skeleton with his 1 hit point left.
It probably explodes.
Crying.
So
It
yeah,
explodes into tears of dust.
there's like our slow mo shot of Deacon just like bringing that like shield around in an arc, and the skeleton exploding and dust falling.
Is there supposed to be a skeleton beside Kyra?
Yeah, I've just been moving the dead ones up there.
Oh, okay. I look over, like, wait a minute.
They're respawning over there.
Helena quickly writes some things down.
I'm just gonna reach and open that door.
So yeah, the hallway continues. You do not hear any sound, any movement, or anything.
Like everyone's coming down from the battle, Arathius's hand just slides in, pulls the door up, pushes the door open.
Casting Produce Flame again.
Okay.
Arathius covers his eyes briefly.
So, what do we have in this room?
It is a lot of rubble. So yeah, it's littered with like bones and discarded and rusted weapons and shields. But there are like some like little pillars and alcoves that house marble statues of various priests and stuff. It looks like it's at one point it may have been not quite a reliquary, but like a
Like a holy chamber?
yeah, that sort of thing.
Hey, Sophia,
Yeah. Yes.
you're the religious one. Is there anything worthy in this room for us?
I'm not sure. Let me take a look around.
Give me a religion roll.
Agri's gonna bandage himself up here.
Okay.
I see my dice are back at it.
Yeah.
So as Sophia takes a look around, you don't. These are definitely like small statuaries of important religious figures, but you don't recognize them. Like if they're figures of gods, there's certainly no. They're not to the five gods or to the titans. So you're not sure.
Weird.
You do know Sophia, and I think Deacon definitely has history, and I think Agri does as well.
Hmm.
Helena does also.
You guys are aware that the stories are that the Dragonlords and their dragons came to Thylea from other lands. So it's entirely possible that these would be iconography and statuary representing their deities, because the Dragonlords kind of predate the five gods.
Ah.
Okay. Just as a quick aside, Deacon and Agri, while you're holding my dice, you also have epic courage, so you have advantage on saving throws for being frightened, and you have epic foresight, which gives you a +5 to your passive perception.
Wow.
Yeah, you cannot be
Cool.
surprised. I was just, because I just realized it went up a level, so I was reading what it did.
Now, does it stay until it's used?
It does.
Yep. Bardic Inspiration lasts for 10 minutes.
Okay. So I'm assuming by now we all noticed that the door's open.
Yes.
Maybe with the clip clop of
Yep.
of Agri following after Rathius.
Yeah, just see Arathius start to go, and I was like, oh yeah, probably should get going now.
Sorry, I was reading my thing.
So yeah, as you kind of make your way through, a lot of corridors. You don't see any other doors off of the corridors or anything.
This one splits two ways.
Sophia, with your kind of innate sense, when you get to that branch, you have a feeling that, given the layout of the mazes you've examined so far, going to the north probably leads to a dead end.
Okay, south. North, I don't think will take us anywhere.
Okay, I'll keep going then.
South, obviously.
Man, there's a lot of tunneling.
Oh
It's
yes.
just painful.
Hey, I found a door.
Oh. Any sound?
Just us so far.
Half a second here.
I think my token's on top of Sophia's. I like to think I'm just kind of cowering behind her.
I mean, she's tall enough for sure.
We'll get you a basket so you can
Short
ride
enough.
on our back.
You can take Helena and stand her on top of Helena and probably still hide behind her.
Yes.
Or awfully close.
Right. So yes, you've come to another door. The first door you've seen in probably 5 or 6 minutes anyway. So there's still a few minutes left on the Bardic Inspiration dice for those of you that still have them.
Yay.
Would you like me to check again for good or evil? Or maybe just open the door. That's fine.
So this room has it's got very high ceiling, sculpted walls, flagstone floor. There is a mangled skeleton kind of laying in front of the door that you kind of push aside as the door opens.
That's not a good sign.
The walls are embellished with rows of screaming stone faces. The very far end of the room, there's a pair of heavy bronze double doors. 2 skeletons sprawled on the floor in front of those, bones partially crushed.
Oh my.
And we don't see the obvious trap that is part of the artwork.
We should maybe use that trap sense now, or like that investigation roll. Seems like a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Alright, let's see. Okay, so with the 16 Arathis, as you kind of get down and you look at the floor, it looks like the floor has the slightest little bit of give to it.
The floor feels almost like maybe it's on a platform or a plate.
So if we put something heavy on that to set it off, like intentionally set it off, will that disable it?
I don't know. I just know what I'm looking for, oddities, and that is an oddity. I mean, Sophia could possibly just like hit it with the hammer and really hard. Who knows?
We can assume it's trapped.
Yeah. Yeah, judging by the condition of the skeletons, there's definitely a trap in here.
Well, let's see what happens then.
Need like a bowling ball.
Do you want to step aside? Did you just go into the room? That is not what I meant by step aside. I'm going to try to grab the back of his shirt to haul him backwards.
Okay. Arathis steps in.
Stupid. What the hell are you doing?
Nothing seems to happen.
Oh dear. The fact that nothing happened makes me even more worried, just so you know.
I'm going to pull him back into the hall. There is nothing. Don't.
Hey, as long as the door doesn't slam closed, I can get back.
We had no idea if it would slam closed or not.
Well, now we know it will.
That's why it was a bad idea.
I trusted in the fates. I'm worried that the other door that we have to go through might be the problem now.
True. Let's see.
Well, if you look at the situation, it looks like at the door, 2 skeletons got immediately crushed, and one possibly tried to escape through the door, and it didn't make it.
I can fly in and investigate without touching the floor.
Or you.
Oh, we don't even know if it might be a magical setup.
It might be.
My spiritual.
But we're never going to know if we don't try. So I'm going to go in and investigate the door.
I figured one of you would be able to smash this door.
Chris?
Yes?
My spiritual weapon doesn't have to be the same thing every time, right?
No, it just has to be a weapon.
I agree. Kind of looks around Deacon, pushing him aside a little bit. So what's in there?
A trap.
That's
I float in and I just kind of look at the door to investigate the one on the other side of the room.
Okay, give me an investigation check.
Yep.
Right. It is a solid brass double door.
Is there anything trapped about it?
So you don't see anything like it's plain. It's not carved or anything. There's nothing where they could hide like poison gas nozzle or a flame jet. Like it's like solid brass. So there's no ornamentation in which they could hide a trap.
Check the floor.
I will check around the door as well.
Okay. The only thing, since you're up there, the skeletons that's in front of the bronze door, it's definitely been crushed and its armor has been squooshed. It's wearing like almost like you think it might have been plate mail at some point, but it is squooshed. Like this skeleton and its armor is almost, like when you crush tin cans to like, yeah, compressed. The skeleton
So-
and his armor has been compressed.
I'm looking at the floor underneath the skeleton. Does it look like there may be drag marks?
21, natural 20. It does look like there are scraping marks across the floor, and they kind of run south, like north to south.
Okay. I will fly back out of the room and give them my conclusion from what I investigated. Guys, I think it's the walls. I saw
Yeah.
drag marks around the body.
Well, the walls are. Well, I'd say the walls are normally easier to deal with than, say, the floor or the ceiling, but judging by the skeletons, that might not also be the case.
It made pancakes out of their plate mail, so you know.
Was the door locked? Do you know?
Did I see a lock on the door, Chris?
The door was not locked.
The door is not locked. I don't know what triggers the walls, though. And I
Well-
was floating, so
Well, do you think you're strong enough while in the air to push the door open?
I can try.
If not,
I'm
I'll
gonna
go
go
over
try
and
and
do it.
push the door open.
I'm gonna cast guidance on it before she goes too far.
You want a strength check?
Yes, a strength check, and then add +1 from Agri.
Okay.
That
+1.
that door is not budging. It
Yeah, no, guys.
doesn't even rattle.
I can't do this by myself. Sorry. Too small.
That's what I was worried about. Oh boy. All right.
Move, Agri says.
I don't know if it's the floor that triggers the walls, though.
Agri goes in right after Rathius.
Why are you going in?
Do not. Just to be safe, don't stand on the same tile I am.
All right. So as
Okay.
the two of you enter the room, there is a portcullis that descends, cutting off the doorway between you and
Oh,
Deacon and them. And then the south wall starts to move forward with the screech of metal against metal.
This is why.
I am going to need you guys to roll initiative because initiative matters to this.
yeah.
Hey,
Oh, would you look at that? A great number. It's not even combat.
Right?
Figures.
Well,
Right.
it's important, though. This is very important. More important than combat.
Okay.
True.
Things around my map here. Arathius, you're up.
So we want to try and get the portcullis or the door.
Whichever. I'm shifting next turn.
Well, I'll try.
When it gets to me, I'll attempt to heave the portcullis upward.
You should still have your bardic inspirations also.
I'm gonna go to try and get the door when Agra gets over here.
Right, give me an athletics test.
Ooh. I am terrible. But the die roll ain't bad.
All right, 16. All right, the door starts to move.
Oh.
Like they say, you can always crit.
That will take us to Deacon.
That's very important because if I can see past it, I can tell I can Misty Step.
All right, I am going to attempt to lift up the portcullis.
That will be an athletics check.
Cool, the things I actually have.
Yeah, you grab and yeah, even like knowing like, I will let you know that even with your bardic inspiration, that's not going to be enough to lift this.
Totally suck.
Yeah, like maybe you might be able to get a better grip on it, or if you have a crowbar or somebody giving you a hand, but by yourself, this portcullis isn't moving.
Yeah. Well, Sophia's on my side.
That will bring us to Agri.
All right. Well, I'm going to go to the other end of the room and also continue to assist Erathius here, but because of the spacing, I'm not going to shift this turn.
Okay. So you're giving him a hand on pulling on these big bronze handles?
You got it.
Okay.
So athletics or...
What I'll do, because he's already got the door kind of moving, the way it works when you're opening this particular door is what you roll on the athletics is how quickly you manage to open the door. I will simply shave a little bit of time off of how long it's going to take.
Okay, I will also burn the bonus that I got from Helena.
Okay.
Bardic inspiration.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't actually have to worry about it. It's not going to actually do anything.
Okay.
But yeah, with that help, you do get the door moving a little bit faster. Basically, instead of taking 3 turns to open, it'll take 2 turns.
Oh, that's cool.
Sophia.
Okay, couple of questions.
Yep.
The portcullis.
Yep.
How wide are the openings in it?
They're probably a little bit wider than like your fist.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, it's designed to keep
There's
people out.
nothing through it for a human. Let alone.
Well, yeah, I should say, how big is my fist by comparison to a human's fist?
Help me try to lift it.
Yes, I was wondering if I'd be able to fit my hammer through it. And how long my hammer is.
It's a warhammer. Warhammers usually have about a 3-foot haft, so.
I was just wondering if they'd be able to, worst come to worst, brace it between the non-moving wall and the moving wall, so they would have a bit of space.
No.
Or hopefully they weren't getting crushed. Okay. In that case, yes, I will absolutely help Deacon in trying to shove this portcullis out of the way.
Okay. So on your next round there, Jeff, that will give you advantage.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Helena.
I have a quick question. I have a passive ability called Bless, but all it says when I scroll over it is that it adds 1d4 to attack and saving rolls.
Yeah, that's just it's an effect you can trigger on if Sophia casts Bless, then you can just trigger it.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if it was something I had to activate or something I could give to somebody else.
Yeah, it's just there. So
Okay.
if your cleric blesses the party, people have toggles.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, if that's the case, then how high do they have the portcullis?
They don't.
They don't. Okay. I will give that my last bardic inspiration then to Sophia.
Okay.
Because I am not strength based and I'm not going to be much help with that door until I can get underneath of it.
All right. And then after Sophia, Deacon and Arathius, since you guys are both in the room.
I agree.
Sorry, I agree.
I'm not in the room.
It's a change.
Also, what's Kira doing?
Kara's like, she's at the back. She's like, she seems to be weighing her options. But you guys see a bunch of spikes basically start to protrude out of the walls. Basically, kind of almost like if you had two tines of the forks and you basically put one fork in between the spaces of the other fork's tines. So there's a bunch of spikes that come out of the south wall and out of the north wall.
Nice.
Arathius and Agri, you each will take 9 points of damage as basically these long spikes just kind of out of the wall. You kind of like, kind of try to get in between them as best you can. And you do notice that southern wall, even though there's these spikes coming out of the north wall and the south wall, that south wall is continuing to push up towards the north wall.
Yeah.
Shut down all the garbage compactors on the detention level.
Right.
That will bring us to
Knew that was coming.
Arathius.
Well, I've already got the door going.
Yep. So this will be. This is the second round. So as long as you keep pulling and Agri keeps pulling, the door will be open at the end of this round.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep pulling.
Okay.
I will, however, also quaff a potion.
Okay.
Just give myself a little bit of extra breathing room if that spike damage goes up.
Yep. Right. That will bring us to Deacon.
Alrighty. Well, with help, we're going to see if we can get rid of this portcullis problem. Wish me luck.
Good luck. Oh,
Oh.
I should not have touched your luck at all. Apologies, I should just stay well away.
Well, either one of two things will happen. Either they'll get through the door and then the trap will clamp shut and reset, or they'll be paced and it'll reset.
And as you guys are like straining here, and the two people trapped in the room, I'll say, who's got the highest perception? What's everybody's passive perception?
I just
right.
gave Deacon, Sophia, and I agree a +5 to theirs.
So mine would be I don't know what the passive
The
perception.
the number after the plus is your passive in the bracket.
18.
Okay.
18, Agri?
Yep.
Excellent.
Mine would be 17.
17 for Deacon?
I have 15, and then apparently I was just given a bonus.
So you have
Yes.
20 then, yeah. Nice.
Okay. So at the very least, Agri, Deacon, and Sophia, you guys all recognize that metal on stone sound you found when you pulled the lever in the other room?
Oh,
Definitely emanated from here.
Ha!
okay.
Do you say that out loud?
How can you tell how fast you run?
It's your speed.
Mine's 40.
Okay, and then you can use your action to dash, which would double it.
Okay, Sophia will yell out, "Who's the fastest?"
I'm looking for my fly speed. Give me a second.
I think your fly speed is the same as your walking speed.
Is it?
Yep.
Damn. My speed is 30 then.
Okay.
Technically, it would be me, but I'm stuck inside.
Turn into a tiny sparrow.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Can't yet.
On the side of the wall.
Where do I
Sophia's
find
going to go tearing down the halls, back toward, and with the labyrinth sense, she will remember where she's going.
Speed can be found right above your
worry.
AC on your sheet.
Yep. So there's no worry about her getting lost.
Look, even bolder.
Run back to try to get the lever.
So you got a speed of 40, so running is 16 squares.
Okay. 16?
Yep.
Okay. So that would get her back to freaking walls foundry.
Here, I'll move you. I've got you.
Arathius is like working on the door with Agra. It's like, so.
Oh, that's with my dash.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if if pulling the lever reactivated the trap and it had been dormant the whole time?
Yeah.
All right, so that's as far as you get there.
Before, as she takes off, she yells lever.
Okay. That will bring us to Agri.
Yeah, I'm turning on rage and yanking on this door even harder.
Okay. With that, I'll say, yeah. With that, I'll say that you can wrench this the rest of the way because that would give you advantage on your strength roll. Right. So inside this room, it is a large barrel vaulted chamber decorated with polished bronze fittings. You see the flicker of gold in the light of a single torch that is lit. The center of the room was dominated by a black marble sarcophagus engraved with the likeness of Xander. And you hear whispers breaking the silence, like solemn voices of mages past that are extolling the deeds of the man interred here. Nothing you can, not like full sentence or anything like that, but you just hear these whispers of, when Xander led the Dragonlords against the Titans, when they, protected the newcomers to the lands, things of that nature.
Okay. I'm assuming because we're hauling on this, we'll have to wait till our next turn to actually go in the room, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
That brings us to Sophia, who is running down the hill. That will take us to Helena.
You said you're moving me?
You moved slightly out of turn, so your turn would take you to where you are.
Okay.
Helena will take Sophia's spot, helping Deacon with the portcullis to the best of her abilities.
Okay. End of that round. That wall is still continuing to push forward, and it does seem to be picking up speed.
Well, that's good because through the door I go.
Okay. So yeah, Arathius, you step into the room and you see like there's a single torch lighting this room. And the black sarcophagus, and again, you can hear the voices, and they're just like echoing, sibilant whispers of the nothing about the Dragonlords in general, but specifically about this individual, specifically about Xander.
That's both a nice and terrible touch. I don't advise it for my own grave, okay?
Is there anything else you would like to do?
No, I've got to wait. I'm going to wait for the party before I do anything too stupid.
Okay. That will take us to...
That's the guy who went into the room.
I had no fear of the trap overall. Remember, I have workarounds. I was like, oh, it's a portcullis. Easy. I can teleport into the group. Oh, Agri's here with me. Better open the door.
I had that. That's fine.
All right. That will take us to Deacon.
All right. Deacon against the portcullis, round 3.
Okay. Heave. You do still have advantage.
Cool.
Uh, 17.
Can I throw the bardic inspiration?
Your bardic inspiration may make the difference on this. So with a mighty heave between you and Helena, you manage to basically start this portcullis moving, and once you get it moving, it ratchets up of its own accord. Fairly quickly, almost like it's on a counter lever.
Ah.
So the portcullis goes up, opening that exit, but that southern wall and the spikes are still moving.
Well, how long does it take to get across? I think we should just Helena, I think we should just wait for Sophia to do what she wants to do.
If it wasn't for the fact that you'd have to squeeze past Agri, you'd be able to clear it.
No worries.
Come on, Agri, come on, move that fat ass.
Agri.
Speaking of, yeah, totally hoofing it in there.
Okay. Perfect.
So bad.
I know, I had to.
So bad.
It's like
some puns are so bad that's like you're beating it to glue.
It's like a rule that we need at least one Minotaur or Centaur pun per game.
Yep.
This does seem to be a thing.
No, I don't like that rule. It's a terrible rule.
Hey now. Hey now.
You're still
nay.
You're still mad about the sheepdog joke.
A little bit.
Who died?
Terrible.
No one.
Watch Helena whip. Watch Helena nay.
Right,
I am amazing.
Watch Helena whip. Watch Agri nay.
Right. Agri. So you make it into the room.
Okay. And I'm going to take a quick look just to see if there's any type of mechanism in here that would shut the trap off from inside here.
Give me a perception, since it's a quick look.
Nice.
No, there does not seem to be.
Okay.
This room, like the sarcophagus, is well adorned. There are like numerous like highly polished bronze fittings, but you don't see anything. Nothing draws your attention. It looks like it's something that would, like a lever. Like the lever in the other room was blatantly obvious. You don't see anything like that. Some of the fittings might move. You'd actually have to investigate, but nothing catches your attention right out.
Okay. And rage ends because I didn't get hit or attacked this turn.
Oh, let me smack you on the ass.
Okay, Sophia continues to run. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh.
Sophia keeps running. Helena.
I guess I will continue holding her place at the port. Am I muted?
Nope.
No, I'm
Nope.
not.
No,
I guess
it's
I will
track-
continue
it's
holding
track
her
up.
place at the portcullis, or is it open?
It's open.
No. Yeah, it ratcheted up after we got it.
Okay, I probably have enough speed to quickly fly through there and get through that door.
Yep, do it.
Yes, you do. Yep.
Okay, I will do that then, because I am small and nimble.
So yeah, so you kind of like fly through, kind of like the X-Men going through the danger room through like the spikes and everything.
Yes.
And
that's a terrible analogy. I've seen that mutant get wasted.
And just as Helena lands in front of the door, whatever like that slowly ratcheting it up southern wall just quickly slams into the north wall.
I'm assuming it just missed me.
It just misses you. It's like you might have like a hole in your cloak sort of thing.
Great timing.
It caught a feather as it went by.
Well, if it wasn't a comedy, it'd be a
Well,
tragedy.
I guess the question is now that it's slammed into the wall, can you get
does it
around it?
reset?
So with that, we'll go out of initiative because in another round or two, Sophia will be able to pull the lever.
Okay.
In which case, it does reset. And it ratchets back. The spikes go back into the wall. Everything goes back to normal.
I will wait on this side for Sophia.
Okay. And Arathius, since you've got the headband of intellect, when you by yourself were in that room, it was fine. It was when you and
It was a wait.
when you and Agri were both in the room, that's when it triggered.
Yeah, and unfortunately, due to the nature of Agri, I can't reasonably guess if it's the weight of 2 average people or 3 average people.
Right.
The skeletons hint that it's 3, but that doesn't mean they were all there at the same time.
So Sophia, you can make your way back up. Pull the lever again. You hear that metal on stone scraping sound, and you guys watch as that entire room basically resets.
Oh, interesting.
Cool.
Gonna heal up.
I can heal you if you'd like.
Save your spells.
So yeah, Deacon, when Sophie gets back, one at a time through there.
All right, gotcha.
Helen, you want to move out of the door just in case one of them has to run?
Yes.
Thank you, dear.
In what order are you
No
going
problem.
across?
I'll go first.
Okay. No problem. You make it across easy as can be.
I just kind of turn around and look and I go, Sophia, you may want to run.
Kara will be like, I'm gonna go just before you there, Sophia, just in case.
She doesn't want to miss any
Sure.
verses of the poem in case it snaps shut behind you again.
So when they run across the room, does anything happen?
Nope.
It's a combined weight trap. There's something down below on basically on a scale that once you exceed it, it sets off the trap.
Well, let's see how this works out. I'll wait until the room is clear before running across.
Don't forget, you have a bardic inspiration dice.
That doesn't change movement speed.
No, but it could help her dodge.
Yeah, with a movement of 40, as you go into that room, you can feel everything start to rumble, but you're fast enough to get through the double door before the portcullis slams down.
Good.
Well, getting out should be fun.
Can't say I'm a
I-
fan of this
I
place.
imagine this place is engineered so that there's another way out.
More than
I
likely.
hope so.
Behold, the sarcophagus of Xander, the Dragonlord.
Ooh. Interesting.
Well, it is fairly beautiful in its own way.
The whispers are a nice touch and at the same time a bit much.
Oh, they're definitely a bit much.
Well, when you call yourself Dragonlords, I mean, come on.
Mm.
I start answering them, talking back, having a conversation.
Considering they're just recounting actions and things that Xander's done, it's not much of a conversation even with you responding.
It's still fun, and Helena's kind of kooky.
So you're saying it's like the tomb is like one big ego trip.
Yep. Yeah, it is.
So we're here to open this.
Really glad I don't have to meet this guy in the flesh.
Oh, I doubt that he was that big.
Yeah, I do too.
So if I try to cast that trap spell in here, I'm just going to pick up the one in the other room. So
It depends where you're standing, because it detects traps within line of sight.
So if you're up in the corner where you won't be able to see the doorway.
And it would, I mean, if there was another trap in this room, it would detect both. Right? It highlights kind of like highlights like when you mouse over something in an adventure game. Every trap within line of sight and 120 feet.
okay.
It's not just a one and done.
Yeah, like if you detected undead, it'd be there's some that direction, but there's also some this direction.
So would you like to physically check, or do you want me to try?
Well, we can always do a little both, but I'll check. Oh, nice.
You look it over and there's no sign of anything. Like it is a remarkably well made sarcophagus. Like it is tightly sealed. But you kind of look and like you look at the carving, the carved figure of Xander on the lid. You're like there's no little holes in like the nostrils or the eyes where gas would be expelled. There's no runes or anything that would indicate a spell about to go off. Doesn't look like it. Like it's solid stone, so there's no little holes where like needles or darts might come up. You're fairly confident that this is not trapped.
Yeah, I see no signs of anything that could hide a trap or be a trap at this time. There's no magical ruins either, so that's nice.
So we're looking for whatever might be in this.
I believe this is why we're here.
Where does it look like it has an opening?
It doesn't look like it has an opening per se. There's definitely a lid. It's definitely a sarcophagus, but it's so finely made. You really have to get down and look to find where the seam to the lid may be.
Yeah, we have to push this way. Or that way.
Oh, I'm thinking of a different game. I was gonna say I could do an appraisal check, but that's not this.
Agri starts to push.
Arathius makes a good show of helping.
Okay, what is Agri strength?
15. Put that in
Okay.
that one, yo.
Okay, what is Arathius' strength?
11.
Okay, so between the two of you, you can actually start to slide this lid.
Holy crap!
It weighs nearly a ton, but between the two of you, like you can't lift it, but you can slide it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll help.
I will also help. I
Careful.
don't know if I'll be much help.
Don't hurt yourselves. Remember, lift from your legs, not from your back.
I'm pushing with my shoulder, so I'm using my legs and back.
Actually, can
Health
this
and
might be a
safety,
silly
everyone. Health
question.
and safety.
Can Helena reach it properly to push it?
Yeah, probably. I mean, you're kind of pushing like a little bit over your height, so how much help you're actually giving, you're not sure.
Okay, because
It's okay. It's
I don't know how
important
big
to
it is.
support
I'm
the
only
team.
4 feet.
You literally got horsepower here. It's fine.
Ooh,
So as the lid slides off, you do hear some very loud mechanical clicking sounds.
Back up.
You would think it's kind of like when you're ratcheting something and you know when it catches into gear and you know that it's held. It's that sort of sound.
The lid's on a hinge.
Not so much the lids on the hinge. It came from the other room. With a 19 intellect, you're guessing that it probably locks the trap in place.
Okay.
Inside is a very desiccated corpse wearing a breastplate, immaculately made breastplate. Looks very, very old, very, very dead. But from behind you, you hear this booming voice. It says, "Interlopers,
Nope, we're here to help.
come to pay your respects to this great
Yes.
hero."
Sure. Persuasion? Would you like persuasion or performance? Or deception?
You can try persuasion.
No.
I have no interloping. I don't have an
That was
interloping bone in my body.
Bad. I think Helen is just kind of taken aback, so she's stammering a little.
This,
Taking on her back. Oh no.
Deacon, since you're kind of in the doorway, you see this very large minotaur kind of stomp down the way you guys came, through the door with the portcullises, carrying a very, very impressive looking great axe.
ah, crap.
Hey, Sophia, do you know this guy?
Who?
In the door.
I'll turn around.
Sophia,
There's a huge
Yes.
Scott Ta, there's a huge minotaur coming.
give me a
Knowledge Minotaur.
history check.
Not too bad.
17?
1 sec.
Maybe you've got a brother.
That'd be funny. She probably has several, all things considered.
That would not be Yes. More than likely. Unfortunately, it would not surprise me in the slightest.
Okay. All right. You have heard tales of one known as Graxus the Butcher.
Yes.
He was the last member of a particularly bloodthirsty tribe of minotaurs created by Lutheria during the war. After they were defeated, Damon, the lich that you met earlier, cursed the survivors to live as guardians of the necropolis.
What was his name again?
His name is Graxus.
Praxis.
Why couldn't it have been like a wonderful tribe of flower growing minotaurs?
Because then there wouldn't have been a war.
Fluffy bunny.
So this like hulking minotaur, such sort. It's like, you're like Cam, aren't you? Conquered my people, murdered my family. Because of him and his friends, I cannot rest. I can't sleep.
Do I look like I conquered anybody?
Yes,
did-
Helena, we've seen what you eat.
He throws the great axe at Helena.
Ha!
Does he hit? Or can I dodge?
Can we try to catch it?
Are any of you a monk?
No.
No.
Then no.
I have suddenly developed monk-like abilities.
It was worth a try.
That is a 23 to hit
Yep. Too high.
for 13 damage.
Yep. That's fine. This is fine.
Does Helena have the axe now?
Oh, just a sec.
She pulls it out of her shoulder. That hurt.
Just one sec. He's not done yet.
No.
And he follows that. He lowers his head and he charges you.
Awesome.
That is a 25 to hit
Oh,
Yes.
for 10 damage.
Yep. It's all good. I got this, guys.
This was the night when I met Pythor all over again.
And another 7.
And I'm down.
I told you, it's
Oh,
when I
that's
met
a big
Pythor all
icon.
over again.
And now we will roll some initiative.
Oh, damn it.
Apparently, I'm just going to be added in at the end of the initiative. Oh, look at that initiative, boys.
He's
Hey, Sophia's pissed
angry.
off.
He angry.
Yeah. Maybe a little.
Apparently, so is Sophia.
Doesn't matter. You're down on the ground.
Roll initiative.
Not me.
Yep.
Sophia.
Roll initiative for Helena because it'll matter when you need to make death saves.
Okay.
Get off the
I wasn't
ground.
sure if you were just sticking me in at
Stop
the end or
faking
not.
it. Get up and quit faking it.
So that
Apparently,
is
I get to make that death save right away.
so Helena, end your turn. Make a death save.
All right.
So Rathius being over
Right
here
away.
going, get up and quit faking it.
There we go. Normal. Roll.
Okay.
Part of the way there, buddy.
His turn. He just pulls that axe out of Helena's body, and he goes to swing it at Deacon. But you notice the desiccated body in the sarcophagus stands up.
Yeah, that's something worth noticing.
And he just raises his hands, and the great axe jumps from the Minotaur's hands into the grasp of Xander.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if that's better or worse.
Remember,
Hey.
we're the chosen. It's the prophecy.
He turns.
At least you can turn undead.
He turns around and he looks. Probably Arathius is actually the closest to him when he would stand up. So he takes the great axe and like flies over to his hand. Then he turns and he looks at Arathius and he like one-handed just flips this axe around and extends it hilt first towards Arathius.
Arathius will not ignore a gift axe in the mouth and reach to take it, but he's pretty sure it's going to be handed over to someone else in a moment.
And Graxus lets out this bellow like, you're just like him. And he looks at Sophia, And there's this like look of just unrelenting hatred in his eyes for her.
Oh, the look of love across the battlefield.
And he basically,
Always fun.
he just like kind of like shoves Deacon aside as he kind of moves, like tramples over poor Kyra. He doesn't actually move far enough for Deacon to get an attack of opportunity, but
Cool.
But the intent was there.
Yeah, but
Uh,
we'll have him at disadvantage or advantage or whatever.
He's really big.
and he just lowers his head and he like headbutts Sophia. That is a 17 to hit.
Did you? Let me check my shield because I think I have one.
You are AC 15.
Oh, okay.
So that's going to be 13 points of damage.
Okay.
That will bring us to Sophia.
So you said 15? Oh, 13.
13.
All right.
Smack him back! Smack him back!
And as he does, he just like, he snorts right in your face. He's like, betrayer.
Hardly. And I'm going to try to swing up with with Pythor's hammer.
Okay.
And try to get him in the face. Or, you know, anywhere. Between the legs. I don't really care as long as it hits him. 16?
So you swing this hammer up, and he basically, he's got this battered and beaten, but still kind of golden sheen shield, and he just catches your hammer with it.
Okay. And I can't cast a spell on a bonus action, correct?
Yeah, you can, as long as the spell itself is a bonus action.
I don't think Spare the Dying is.
No.
No, it's an action.
Healing word is, spiritual weapon is. There's fairly limited bonus action spells. Misty Step is.
I have a spiritual weapon. I'll cast that as a bonus action.
Okay. So you can make an attack with your spiritual weapon.
Sure.
So I think the best way to model it. Cast a spell, but tell it not to use a spell slot, and you should be good.
Does it gain advantage because it's surrounded?
No.
Okay.
No.
You guys will get advantage on it because you're flanking it, but it doesn't have any penalties.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Agri.
Yep. So Agri's just basically pointing his scimitar in his direction and says, "Minotaur, sit."
Casting command.
Hold person.
Oh.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.
Oh.
You're welcome.
Okay, so it is paralyzed for the duration. Does get to make the save again at the end of each turn.
Awesome.
Sexy.
And I'll take my move towards over to Helena.
Okay, that will take us to Kyra.
Yes, because I would like to get out.
Kyra's going to get out from underneath Minotaur Foot. And she will do her Song of Heroes.
Yes, reroll. Very good, very good.
Okay.
Please and thank you, yes.
All right, Deacon is up. So just so everybody's aware, because I know some of you aren't familiar with 5e, Graxus is currently paralyzed, which means any attack against him has advantage, and any attack made from within 5 feet of him is an automatic critical if it hits.
Oh,
Boy,
What
this
breaks the
sounds
crowd?
like a wonderfully good time to use Action Surge.
Yes, it would.
All right. Well, it's not a skeleton, so spear away. Is there any weird bonuses or anything?
You have advantage.
True. Great bonus.
Yeah. Ooh, critical hit anyway. Not a double critical. But that is like a phenomenal number of criticals you rolled tonight, though.
That is a lot.
I think we're at like 4.
I am going to pay for it in Conan next week.
You so are.
If it makes you feel any better, I think my poem might hit another level again tonight.
Sweet.
All right. So yeah, you bring that spear in, and he doesn't even flinch. If you're going to action surge, you can get your second attack.
Woohoo!
He is paralyzed. I don't expect him to flinch.
Yeah.
You might as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Action Surge. Absolutely.
Bardic Inspiration's other people.
Yeah, there is at a certain level of bard, you get the ability to use it on yourself. It's great, but it's like 17th level. Okay.
Advantage, eh?
Yep. So that's a hit.
I'm going to use Piercer to reroll whatever's.
Yep. So you can reroll that 1d6, and then you would get another 2d6 on top of that for the critical and everything.
So 3d6 altogether?
Yep. So another 14.
Cool.
Right. So yeah, taking full advantage of your paralyzed foe, you manage to cut pretty deeply into him, and you can see, like, even though he's paralyzed, you can still feel the attacks, but he's still got like this singular hatred focused on Sophia.
I'm willing to benefit from that.
That will bring us to Arathius. I will note as well, if you want to get up to him to Eldritch Blast him, he does not count as an enemy, so you're not at disadvantage because he's not threatening any spaces.
Oh dear, that sounds most amusing.
Because you don't have to worry about like ducking and dodging and him knocking your arms astray and all that stuff.
That sounds like a good time.
So that is it. And an extra d10 damage for the auto crit. Ooh, nice. So Arathius kind of steps up and taking advantage of the paralyzed foe. You see those dark tendrils of his Eldritch Blast as the fate's attention is drawn this way, towards this being that has stalked these tombs, protecting them for hundreds of years.
I'm sorry that in all this time that you've spent here unable to find your final rest, that you've been able to also unable to find peace. You're going to meet your fate today.
And that will bring us around to Helena, who still needs to make a death save. Ooh, 1 success, 1 fail.
Somebody heal me, please.
Graxus gets to save at the end of his turn. Oh, I have had like more like boss monsters end this way because I cannot make saving throws.
Sorry, Chris.
I'm
be.
not.
No.
He's used to it by now.
Not sorry at all.
Sounds wonderful.
That will bring us to Sophia.
Probably the only way we're winning this fight. Although I've got some hold person too, so he was getting it when I got back up again.
Okay. Well, now that we've got some time, I don't think we're gonna have 10 minutes of time though.
Hold person lasts for a minute at most.
Okay.
Yeah, just beat on him. I'll wake up again soon.
Yeah, she's up on my turn.
Okay. I will try to smash him with Father's Hammer, and then do the. I pulled out. I'll do the same thing with the spiritual weapon. So with the hammer.
Oh.
Because we have advantage right now, correct?
Yep, and it's an auto crit anyway,
Excellent.
so.
Perfect. I mean, it's not doing a ton of damage, but. And then what would you like me to roll for the spiritual weapon?
If you just click the spell again, but say, it'll say consume spell slot, just say no.
No. Okay.
That is a hit.
Excellent.
And roll another d8 because it gets a critical as well.
Oh, okay. Big old 2.
We're just gonna bash the hell out of him while he's frozen.
Nickel and dime.
Right, Agri.
So, just to confirm, I can cure wounds since it's not a concentration and still hold my concentration?
Yes.
Alright, cool. So this is going to over to Helena.
Right.
As I go down and basically grab her hand and say, "Get up."
Get up. Giant Minotaur to fight here.
Yep.
Woohoo!
That's it.
No sleeping on the job.
I'm fine with that.
Sleeping on the job, yeah, we know.
Get my ass up, thank you.
Kyra will take advantage of this and stab her.
Nice.
That will take us to a Deacon.
And we shall stab again.
Ooh, even with the advantage, there's a miss. That catches on his breastplate.
I'm assuming we no longer have Kira's reroll.
No, you don't, because she attacked this turn.
And is there a bardic inspiration still in play?
I don't think you've got one.
No, I think it ran out. I think.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, all right, good.
Dorathius.
No, since we're here.
23 is a hit. And another, yeah.
Boo.
That will bring us around to Helena.
Sweet deal. I stand up. Now, does it screw his saves on my spells too?
No.
Okay. And when does that hold person end?
When Agri stops concentrating, when he makes his save, or after a minute has passed, whichever comes first.
Okay.
Actually, how
Can
long are
I-
combat rounds?
Pardon?
6 seconds.
Yeah, combat rounds are 6 seconds.
Yeah, it's 10 rounds and it's
Cool.
done.
I'm wondering if I want to hold my turn, and then if he breaks it, I can cast it again.
Just swing at him.
If he breaks
Okay.
it, it's at the end of his turn, so you'd get to go before he got to act.
Yep.
True. Am I close enough to stab him?
Yep.
Okay.
That is not quite enough. Doesn't get through his breastplate and his armor.
Darn. That's okay.
His turn. End of his turn.
Muhaha.
That will bring us to Sophia.
Well, I'll try to hit him again with both hammers.
Smitily smite.
Smitey smite. Hopefully, let's try rolling the spiritual weapon first.
Okay. That is a hit.
Good. Was there extra damage?
Extra
No.
D8.
Oh. Hey, an
Wow.
8 this time.
Good job.
So
That
yeah,
was a nice change.
that spiritual hammer comes down, and he's bleeding from like swords and spears and hammers, and he's looking very badly off.
Good.
Woot.
Now I'd like to hit him with a
Superman.
Pythor's hammer. Well, we'll see.
Yep,
21.
yep, because you have advantage, so that's a hit.
Good.
And an extra D8.
2 again.
Helen just can't hit the broadside of a barn, literally.
I
That's
can
why I
hit it, just
cast
not very hard.
spells.
That will bring us to Agri.
I'm just sitting back and watching at this point. That's my turn.
Okay.
You're not gonna bar.
No space.
Kyra will back up, and she will do her Song of Heroism. That will take us to Deacon.
All right. Stabbing with a reroll. Booyah.
That's a hit.
Yeah, we'll just take that.
So another 2d6.
Nice.
So as they say, how would you like to do this?
Well, spear me through him. Sounds good.
He's a very practical soldier.
Yeah.
Like the blade, bathe in the blood of my enemies, sort of thing.
So yeah, as he slumps down, he actually
Like the blood splatter.
he looks up at Sophia, and he's still got this hatred, like this look of absolute hatred in his eyes as he like slumps to the ground. But then as the paralysis kind of wears off, he looks at Deacon as Deacon's like pulling the spear out of him, and you're pretty sure just before he passes away that he smiles. And not in a evil I'll be back way, but in a thank you sort of way.
You freed him.
I will nod my head and say, fare thee well.
In the meantime, the corpse that has been watching this very, very quietly just like unhooks his breastplate that he was buried in, puts it on the ground in front of the sarcophagus, and then lays back down in it.
I'm fairly certain it doesn't count as tomb robbing if they give it to us.
No, I don't think it would. It's,
I think so.
Let's
Touch
let's
odd.
close it.
Yes.
Let's let him return to his deserved rest.
Should we sing a hymn? I say, looking at Sophia. Would that be appropriate?
could for She'll look down at the Minotaur, or remains of, for him more than Xander. Since Xander was at peace and is again, it seems. This fellow's getting it for the first time.
So I look at Kira. Want to help us out?
So yeah, so she will step forward.
Up. So I'm around the body.
So yeah, so she will begin to sing this very old song.
Okay.
And it tells of the time before the coming of the humans. When the various races of Thylia, the Minotaurs, the Satyrs, the Sirens, the Centaurs, didn't know what a human was. But then when they arrived, they were meek, they were soft. But they grew in power steadily. And so her song tells about the rising tensions between the humans and the other races. And basically kind of leads you through the history of how the first war came about. How the Dragonlords arrived to protect the humans, but what is one person's protector is another person's oppressor. And you can tell there's a definite sadness in her voice as she tells this particular tale. But the end seems to be not to be bound by the past.
As a siren, Chris, would I know this song or is it too old?
It's way too old.
Okay.
But the theme of the song seems to be that there are no good people that come out of a war.
Yeah.
Agri goes over to the corpse and puts 2 in the eyes for the ferryman.
As the only human in the party, I'll just stand here and look guilty.
I will use my ability to mimic. I think it's. I have something that lets me remember things or memorize things. I think. I'm trying to basically memorize the song so I can sing it again later.
Give me a performance check.
Okay. Wow. That is like not my worst performance check, but not one of my best.
You kind of get the gist of it at the very least.
Okay.
It's one of those things you're pretty sure that you can mimic it, but you don't think it would have the same sort of resonance.
No. It's one of those in the moment things. Oh, look, I have a potion of healing. I'm going to use that.
And folks can give me history checks.
Oh shit, that was another performance. Sorry.
Yep.
That song hit too much close to home for Agri.
Mm.
Well, for you too, Agri.
I'm oblivious being guilty for all the humans.
Right. But Arathius and Sophia and Helena, you recognize the golden shield.
Mhm.
It definitely needs to be repaired. It has been banged up and beaten. You're pretty sure whatever magic may have once held is no longer present. But that was the golden shield of Vulcan.
So we should
Wow.
probably send it back to the forge.
It is said that whoever wields the shield can command the powers of thunder.
We should get it fixed up, which might be taking it to Vulcan anyway.
Yeah. And then I feel like
anyone's going to
Sophia
know
should
how.
combine it with the hammer.
The breastplate is the breastplate of Mitros. It is said to protect the wielder from the attacks of giants and titans.
Bode well for the future.
And the axe is also badly damaged.
Yeah.
Is it also magical?
Yes, that is the legendary axe of Xander.
Which is why he was able to call it.
Yeah, its
Mhm.
its purpose is to destroy giants and titans.
Well,
That could be
sounds
useful
like
later.
sounds like we have a forge to visit.
Uh-huh. Wait, can't we call the mechanical thing?
Yes.
The delivery spot.
Yes.
The breastplate, however, is not broken and is still functional.
Yes, we can call Amazon to pick up these packages.
That was horrible.
Awful.
Absolutely horrible.
I thought it was funny.
God,
Does this mean that it'll arrive and it'll drop the package someplace we can't find it?
No, Vulcan's a little bit better than that.
It's got tracking.
He does have tracking.
Yeah, it's one of the tracked packages of Amazon.
Whatever works, I guess.
So Agri's going to this door. Does it look like the trap's like reseated and he doesn't have to gallop off to the other side?
Yeah, it looks like everything is like kind of locked into place.
She's safe. Cross.
All right, let's get out of here. Anybody need a pack mule?
No, I think I'm good.
Gather up everything. Is there anything else in the sarcophagus?
No, there is not.
That's why we closed the lid so we could nap.
Anything else cool in the room?
Ever burning torch.
There is an ever-burning torch, yes.
Well, that should probably stay here.
Yeah, you kind of start to reach for it, and then you remember that that man starving in the streets of Astoria that literally could not eat because he had taken something from the tomb.
Yeah. I will slap your hand.
Besides, you don't need a torch. You have A centaur that likes to cast flames.
I have
Exactly.
light casted on my jacket.
Yeah, but it's not the same as torchlight, whereas the whereas the flaming spheres is.
Flickers.
It's about the ambiance, the mood.
Oh yeah, that can totally stay here.
It's not worth starving to death. Slowly and painfully.
That's why Agri
Definitely
casts
not.
his spell for ambiance.
But just think
Enemies
how much
and
like
fighters.
Helena could eat, though.
What?
Just think how much Helena could eat, though.
Nothing. That would be
No.
that'd be a change.
That would be a nightmare. I would throw it all back up again. No.
Speaking of desecration.
Fair.
So with Sophia leading you, you guys can easily navigate your way back out of this this maze-like structure, back to the exterior where the rest of the tombs are.
Yes.
Helen is still going on about the seventh circle of Tartarus starving to death.
Hand on shoulder and say, "Don't worry about that."
The gods,
Question for
Helena,
folks.
like we'd
There
let
you
you
go.
starve.
Thank you. She she digs out of some rations and munches on them nervously.
Question for folks. Did we want to clean the undead out of the tomb here?
All tombs, as long as they're not desecrated. I think it's a great idea.
Yes.
I don't feel any overwhelming need, but we can.
Would the do we think the Lich would thank us for it, or do we think that maybe that's not a good idea?
I think you'd kind of wonder what the point is, because eventually more will be drawn here.
It is a necropolis.
Also,
I would-
maybe he wants some undead buddies to hang out with.
That's not how that works.
No?
I
You
would
sure?
think
You saw the Minotaur.
I would think the only reason that we have not, faced the undead that are entrapped in those tombs is because we had foreknowledge of the fact that they were there.
Also, the Minotaur is living. The Lich is another smarter, more powerful.
That was not living.
No.
A curse of eternity of that nature is definitely not living.
Specifically cursed by the very Lich that guards this necropolis.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, if we're not going to go robbing graves that can be robbed, let's boogie.
Yeah, I'm not keen on robbing graves even that aren't.
Fair.
I'm still really sore, and now I'm hungry.
Grave robbing seems so beneath me.
Mhm.
Which, I mean, I can only imagine how much further beneath Sophia it is as she towers over me.
I don't know about being beneath me, but it's not worth the consequences.
Definitely not.
Oh, I'm not saying breaking consecrated tombs. On our way in, we already found some that weren't.
I was just thinking of protecting others who may come here in the future.
Who the hell else would want to come here? We're only coming here because we're dumb enough to be heroes.
People looking to desecrate tombs and steal things.
Then they deserve to die by undead. It's better than starving to death. Why would we make that easier for them?
But there are other folks that may make a holy pilgrimage here, so it's hard to say.
If they make a holy pilgrimage here, the caretaker has direct influence on that.
Fair. Let's leave them.
Please.
So
And
as
I think
you, oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. She was just gonna repeat again. I think the only reason we're here is because we're dumb enough to be heroes. I don't see normal people coming here to do this.
We're only here because we were told to be grave robbers.
And we
I
didn't
said
steal a thing. It was given to us.
because we're dumb enough to be heroes.
But what if there are other weapons of the Dragonlords in this place?
We would have been
Mhm.
drawn to them by fate already.
We're
I'm
either
sure
destined to get them or not.
Yeah. I feel like the Lich would have told us about it. He was very talkative when we got here.
Is there anything in the lore that would indicate that there should be more than just this?
Make a history check.
Oh yeah,
Clearly.
there's hundreds of weapons.
I mean, all of the Dragonlords obviously had weapons. Some of these may have weapons of power. Some of them may not. The only thing that you know for certain is that the prophecy specifically said, "Claim the weapons wielded by the first Dragonlord."
Gotcha.
So the prophecy said the first doesn't
I would-
necessarily mean the only.
I would rather come back and retrieve anything that we need, that we learn about later, as opposed to taking something from here that we shouldn't have.
Yeah, fair.
So as you make your way from the tombs back to the bridges, you can tell it's dark out. Definitely nighttime.
Nice.
So, so where to? You guys, you're just south of Astoria, and you're probably you're about 4 days from Mitros, where the king wanted to see you.
We probably shouldn't keep the other king waiting too long.
Yeah, no, we should probably start heading that way, but find a nice camping spot not too far on.
Somewhere to rest would be nice.
Yeah.
Somewhere to heal and rest would be even better.
Somewhere like a little inn that has food.
Well, best of luck on that.
Good
So
berries for
hungry.
days.
Are there
Yes.
any little villages or hamlets or towns between here and there?
They're not. There might be like the occasional like logging camp or like individual home, but as far as actual like villages and stuff, they are rare. Most people live in one of the 3 major cities.
That makes sense. Safer that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, outdoor camping then.
Yep.
That's why the Sour Vintage shows up on the map. Because it's
Yeah.
it's pretty unique.
Is that unusual? That's true.
So yes, you guys continue on. So you're continuing to head towards Mitros.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pleasant enough weather out. You know, it's not very hard to find a place to camp along the river. And again, once you get into the trees and stuff, you do notice the local wildlife. Definitely just kind of keeping an eye on you. You know, it's kind of like being with a Disney princess. A bunch of little birds land on a branch. A couple little
I'm totally
squirrels
a
come and
Disney
watch.
princess.
When the deer tries to
Totally
make
a
you off
Disney
with your
princess.
boots.
Yeah. But yes, you guys can find a place to camp without a problem. Set up your watches. Night
Can I roll a
passes.
handle animal to pet a squirrel?
Actually, in this case, you cannot. They will let you pet them, but
Oh.
they are immune to such skills.
Ah,
They make it very clear that they are permitting you to do so.
Yes.
that's fair.
Consent is
How
sincere.
much do we heal again when we rest?
Sorry.
I was just asking how much we heal when we rest.
If you just hit the long rest icon on your character sheet, it'll take care of everything for you.
Okay.
I like to think that Helena spent the night by the campfire singing songs and like scratching a squirrel on the head. Possibly feeding it nuts from her bag.
Well, better than nuts from Soren's bag.
So pack up in the morning. You head on along the way, just kind of following the river until you know that you have to kind of branch south through the forest.
Okay.
And I think we discovered that Agri had the highest passive perception. Agri, you hear sobbing and wailing, but of a very deep intonation, like a resonant sobbing, if there was such a thing.
I mention it to the rest and say, I think it's almost like it's an ogre crying or something. It's very deep.
Do I recognize the sound now that it's been pointed out to me?
Make a. This would be. Let's call this a nature roll in this case.
Nature? Okay. No, unless I have advantage somehow.
No. Arathius. It's definitely not an ogre. It sounds too deep. It sounds larger than an ogre.
Whatever it is, it's bigger than an ogre, Helena.
Oh, that's why it didn't click in.
It seems to be coming down a little bit closer to the riverbank from where you guys are currently traveling. You guys are kind of like up in the woods, a little bit away from the river.
Well, I mean, we should at least go see if it's something that we can help.
Yeah, can I like fly up overhead to kind of scout?
Yeah. And yeah, from a vantage point higher up, down by the riverbank, you see this immensely large and muscular creature. But what draws your attention is it has no head. But judging from the way that its body is shaking, it is definitely the thing doing the sobbing.
Okay, so now curiosity is getting the better of me. I am going to flit down
Okay.
and ask if I can help it.
Okay. Give me a perception check.
Sure. Perception.
So as you're kind of circling down, you do see it seems to be kneeling near a badly pulverized human body.
What happened?
And this creature kind of starts. And as it turns to you, you can see it doesn't have a head, but it does have a like a single eye and a nose and a mouth in the center of its chest.
This is gonna be fun. What happened?
My friend died.
Oh, how did they die?
Died. We were playing and he died. Make him
I'm so sorry.
make him
Go
better.
ahead.
Make him better.
I will get closer and do a medicine check to see if he's dead or if he's just unconscious?
He's dead.
Oh. I don't have that ability. He's too far gone, dear. I can't heal him.
Make him better.
I don't know how, but I can help you feel better, and I will try to use persuasion to help calm him. If that doesn't work, I've got spells ready.
So, what exactly do you say to him with your persuasion roll?
Gonna channel Sophia here and try and go the religious route of, he's moved on to a better place and yada yada yada, whatever the traditional beliefs would be for this being.
You don't even know what this thing is.
No, I'm winging it.
And it just like stands up, and you can see now it looks almost angry at you. It's like, make him better.
The rest of us catching up.
Charm person.
The rest of you at the end of this round will have caught up.
Do I want turn? No, enthrall.
Well, first of all, that's only a 12 to try to grab you.
No, that doesn't hit. And I'm going to try and enthrall him.
Yep. Gets 2 attacks. That's action.
Okay.
So
the 16 will get me.
So it grabs you, and it's immense strength. It does 13 points of damage to you just by grabbing you.
Ow. Okay.
And it's like it's shaking you. And it's like,
Yep.
make it better, make him better. At which point you guys have caught up. Give me half a second here.
Hey, let go of our friend if you want us to have any chance of making it better.
Do I get my enthrall off, Chris?
Well, we're going to be doing some initiative here.
Okay.
Good old Blemis.
Deacon just shakes his head.
Good old Blemis. Nothing beats Blemis.
Oh.
And look, he's conveniently holding someone that may or may not have wings because of a cloak.
So yeah, as you guys come down, you see this gigantic creature with Sophia just like, and it's shaking her like a rag doll, and it's just shouting like,
Sophia.
or sorry, not Sophia.
Sophia.
Helena, shaking her, going like, make him better. And you see it standing near this like badly pulverized human body.
What kind of creature is it?
It's a nature check.
Nature. Oh, good glory.
You're not. It has one eye. It's probably some variant on a cyclops.
What's this nature thing you speak?
Hey, Arathius might know what he's talking about.
Arathius, you've heard of these things. They're creatures called blemishes. They are a type of cyclops. Tend to live alone, filled with anger, to the point that they can sometimes just lash out uncontrollably. Despite their look, they are actually one of the more intelligent brands of cyclops.
Oh, blemishes. They're rather intelligent subspecies of cyclops. They have rage issues though. That's part of why they generally live alone.
Well, the fact that this one can't tell the living from the dead makes me worried for the other cyclopses.
Have you not met how dumb some of them are? It's probably caught up in the emotion anyway.
So yeah, it's got Sophia and it's shaking and telling her
I'm not
to
Sophia.
It does not have Sophia.
Well, neither does the
It
It has
initiative
Helen.
track.
It
sorry,
has Helena.
it has Helen. And yes, and it's shaking her and saying like, make him better. Make my friend better.
Let our friend go, and we'll see if we can make him better.
Can't, dear.
Don't try and reason with him, Helen. He's going to fucking kill you.
Horathius, you are up.
Fuck.
Yeah. Oh, you rolled what? You rolled a 15 on your nature?
Yeah.
You are also aware of the fact that these things get more dangerous as they take damage. They tend to lose what little control they have.
Uh-huh.
Just let me get to my enthrall.
Well, I'm gonna throw a mind sliver at it.
Okay.
Well, of course it rolls well. Damn it. I would have failed my own check.
Deacon.
Question:
Yes.
where it as it is, can I throw the javelin of lightning and not catch Helena?
Oh yeah, it is definitely big enough.
All right then that is what I will do.
Uh, 10 is a miss. So you miss with the actual hit, but it may take the base lightning damage. Takes half. So yeah, the lightning arcs out, barely grazes it.
Well, at least won't get stuck in it.
All right. Sophia.
Um, I think your friend's passed. And I'm sorry, but we can't heal that. A temple might be able to revive him.
Give me a persuasion check.
Well, I can roll the die.
Roll the die.
You can make a check. You just might not succeed.
I can roll the die, but I'm not going to succeed. No, not even remotely.
Make him better now. Anything else from Sophia?
I'm going to summon my spiritual weapon
Just in case.
behind him so he can't see it. I think that would be the best place for it. It looks like this guy's been dead for a while, right?
You don't know how long he's been dead. He's definitely been dead. He has been like pulverized.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. You can make an attack with the spiritual weapon.
He probably tried to reason with it too.
Probably. Yeah, I'm going to swing the hammer, the spiritual hammer, at the center of his spine.
Okay.
Just, yeah, that's all I've got, really. Let's see here.
Ooh, that'll hit.
Okay.
Okay. He looks mildly perturbed.
His token looks mildly perturbed.
Okay.
Oh, it is the second round of his building fury. He has advantage in all attacks.
Yeah.
So he is gonna basically, he grabs Helena. He's like, "I want my friend back," and he like smashes her into the ground.
Oh!
No!
For 18 bludgeoning.
I go
Helena.
unconscious again.
Really
Pimpin'.
hit the...
Shit kicked
Okay.
out of her today.
Uh-huh.
And then he throws her at Sophia.
I will try to catch her.
Yeah, in the face. Do you see the damage?
I mean, hopefully not in the face, but
Well, she's small. It shouldn't cause much damage.
Okay. Um.
Minimum damage.
So, that is only. Oh no, he has advantage because of his frenzy. Yeah. That is a 19.
can I try to catch her in my
You're
arms
catching her in the
instead of
face.
catching her in the face?
You
Is
do
that
it.
to Sophia or me?
Both of you.
Oh
You
dear.
both take 14 damage.
So in Helena's case, that counts as 2 failed death saves.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm like pretty close to dead.
Okay, well I know what I'm doing.
Healing.
I thought I was dead there for a second.
Yeah, almost were.
Good thing he threw me at a healer.
Good thing he rolled poorly.
Yeah, that too.
So there's no chance then of me catching her.
You did catch her.
Well,
In the
Which-
face.
catching her in a nice way instead of in a painful way.
Yeah.
And
At
how
least
much
I didn't
damage did I
take any of your
for that?
horns.
No opposed challenge.
Both of you take 14.
Okay. That halves my hit points. Ouch.
And
And-
I take the 19 as
No.
well as the 14.
You took the 18 from him slamming you into the ground,
Okay.
which knocks you
The
unconscious.
19
and
was the attack roll.
the 19 was the attack
Okay. Okay, I'm not as dead as I thought I was.
roll. Well, that's 2 failed death saves.
Yeah, one more death save, you're dead.
Yeah, because the 18 knocked you unconscious, and then the 14 is 2 failed.
Yeah.
Actually, no, wait. Sorry, it's only 1 failed because it's not an automatic crit. It's only 1 failed.
Okay.
If he had slammed you into the ground again, it would have been 2 failed.
Yep.
And he's like, "I want my friend alive again." Agri.
Agri's like, so do I.
So Agri stomps his hooves and runs over to Helena, casts Cure Wounds,
Yes.
and then yells at the really big monster and says, "You hurt my friend," as I activate Rage as a bonus.
Okay.
Not dead.
You're up to 12 now.
Yay! Fuck.
That will bring us to Helena.
I'm going to attempt to enthrall him. God damn it!
He's got those saves on point today.
Fuck me.
We got all our good luck on the other side, guys.
You're lucky. You're lucky he didn't try that.
Yeah, well, we're suffering from the hold person.
Yep.
Okay. Kyra will look over at you, and she'll look at this creature. And she'll look at probably Sophie and Deacon, since they're the ones in the back. And she'll like pull a scroll out of her backpack, and she'll be like, she'll kind of like shrug a little, and like look at you like in a questioning way. It's like, I can do this, but it means I don't have one for one of you later.
What is it?
I can bring his friend back, but it means I won't be able to bring one of you back later.
I don't think he's coming out of his rage.
No. We're past that point, unfortunately.
I think that's more merciful to his friend either. He's only going to do this again.
Yeah.
Help me put the breastplate on.
Okay. So she'll use her turn helping Deacon get the breastplate on.
There's no way to gentle these creatures, right?
There might be. They are known to be intelligent. Just you guys have rolled some really shitty
There's-
persuasion rolls.
Yeah. There's nothing we can do, though, to prevent him from losing his temper and killing his friend again.
Probably not.
Yeah, that's not a kindness to his friend.
Light on the land.
What?
So Kyra will help Deacon kind of like put the breastplate on. You do know she seems to be quite skilled at how to attach armor.
Probably.
Funny how that works.
That will bring us to Arathius.
Yeah, tough calls here. I'm going to attempt to fairy fire him.
Okay. That's a dex save.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, a 2.
Oh, time.
We are really...
so all attacks on him have advantage for the minute.
Oh, good.
Finally.
It does rule out me putting him in darkness, though, but that's all right. And then I'll move over here.
Well, yeah, you do have good long range.
Yeah.
All right. That will take us to Deacon.
All right. So we got the breastplate on.
You do. It will make your armor class 15, 16, 17, 19. Your armor class actually stays the same.
All right. But I want it for its abilities, apparently, versus giants and titans.
Yes, it actually gives them disadvantage on attacks against you.
Nice. Also, although slightly damaged, I grabbed the axe because it's still magical and it still has stuff for what we're doing.
Perfect. All right. Got it. So it is a great axe, so which means you can't use your shield with it.
Fair enough. Can it be thrown?
Well, the Minotaur threw it.
Can it be thrown? Stop. Look at Helena and ask that question again.
I mean, the Minotaur was a whole lot bigger than you, though.
There was a whole lot of Minotaur.
This is true.
There usually
Well, I
is.
mean, it's It's worth a try. 'Cause I don't
Tape
think
it
I
to your
can.
magical spear.
I don't think I can cover the distance to get in the melee with it.
Yeah, you can get to there.
Is that enough?
No, you'd still be about 10 feet away from it.
Okay.
That's usually a range increment for non-conventional weapons.
In that case, what I'll do is I'll move up a bit, and then I'll throw a hand axe at it.
Okay. Ooh, critical hit even.
Well, that advantage is quite nice. Great fairy fire spell, by the way.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
always nice when it does work from the start.
It's also nice when the one creature takes up the whole space so you don't accidentally catch your friends.
It really is.
Absolutely. Large is good that way.
All right. Anything else from Deacon?
I don't know if I have any other options. I'm going to hold the double attack until, well, when it's more relevant.
Okay.
So is there extra damage that needs to be rolled for that, or?
No, it already got it all taken into account. So.
All right, cool. I'll just kind of set and stay. I've got the great axe, but I'm not necessarily going to brandish it right now. I'm going to sit with shield and expect to get hit.
Okay. That will bring us to Sophia.
Does it look damaged at all?
Marginally.
God. All right.
It's kind of probably got a hangnail or something.
Yeah.
A
Something
light
in its
bruising
teeth.
on the back.
So as long as I can get up to... Oh, I really shouldn't do that. Never mind. I'll try to hit it again with the spiritual weapon.
Okay.
As I pull out my crossbow. See if smacking it works first.
Oh, that's a hit.
Hits.
Good.
Okay.
And then I would like to shoot it with my crossbow.
Okay. That is also a hit.
Excellent. It's a nice change.
It's turn. Strength has gone up.
Gross.
So yeah, it is getting angrier and angrier.
That is gross.
You won't like me when I'm mad.
But
That's fine. We don't like you when you're happy either.
it will look at everybody though, and it like can't help my friend. Go find other friend. Then uses a bonus action to dash. And then it's movement to move. So it's it basically just runs about 90 feet away from you, just kind of this big lumbering gait. It looks like it's not interested in sticking around to smash you guys.
Cool.
That will bring us to Agri.
Yep, so Agri will go a little bit past Deacon and shift up and basically wait for any oncoming assault.
Okay. And you guys can see the glow of it from the fairy fire as it moves. It stops about 90 feet away. It's like, hello, squirrel. Want to be friend? Takes us to Helena's turn.
Does it... Okay, so before I do what I'm about to do we want to let it get away?
Probably.
I think it'd be all right.
At this time of day, too.
Yep.
Okay.
Discretion is the better part of valor.
So, I will
Discretion
not...
is not the better part of Valhalla, though.
I will not cast Bane on it then. And Helena will throw some massive curses about it should be ashamed of itself, and she was trying to help it and make it feel better, and it's a bloody coward for running away, and blah blah blah. But I will not actually cast anything.
Doesn't really hear you.
No, I didn't think it would.
I'm willing to let it go. I'm also willing to fight it if we need to.
But she immediately drops to the ground because she's no longer got her wings because she is ripping fucking mad.
So yeah, as this thing kind of moves its way, and you can hear it periodically talking to different animals, asking it if it wants to be its friend. I mean, it's smart for a Cyclops, but
Well, based on some of its saves, it must be the most intelligent of its species.
it has a 12.
Hopefully the squirrel will manage to get away.
We should probably lay this body to rest.
Someone needs to. I don't think he's going to.
No.
All right, digging detail.
And, say it's not uncommon. These creatures have been cursed to a lonely existence by Lutheria. But sometimes they gather enough wherewithal to find a friend, and it always ends poorly.
And all it would take is one disagreement.
Yes. There's before the first war, the other Titans would have stopped the depredations, but such is life.
Did they used to be tribal or something?
Yes, they were very communal.
That makes sense. That's a sin.
They were highly communal, highly organized, but they annoyed Lutheria, so they were cursed.
And so the world is filled with yet more sin.
In case there's I understand that we've seen some of the worst excesses of the Dragonlords, but things were not happy before their coming either. And as you put this soul to rest, she'll kind of she'll keep an eye out. But she doesn't say too much more. She seems very quiet and withdrawn.
So Helena will sing a hymn. I assume Sophia will do last rites.
Well, such as they are.
Helena will offer up the coins this time.
I'll also take the breastplate off.
You guys all notice that Deacon somehow seems less imposing after he takes the breastplate off.
I make a mental note of that.
I make a mental note of your mental note to my mental note.
But yes, as you bury this poor soul here on the side of the road on the way to Mitros, we will call game there.
Good night, folks.
Thanks,
Sounds
everyone.
Evening.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Great game, folks.
Till next time.
Night.
Have a good night, folks. Sorry for running slightly late.
It's okay. Night night.
It's not like it was an Aurora or anything.